This is the easiest and best tasting way to make crispy pork carnitas in a slow cooker. We're adding fresh orange and lime juice, garlic, onion, cumin, oregano, paprika, so it is bold in flavor but easy on the spice for gentle digestion. Hello, my name is Nicole Bonilla, and if you love healthier recipes made with all natural ingredients, then you are in the right place. Cooking pork in a slow cooker is so easy because you can set it and forget it, but getting that crispy edge on the pork takes a very simple hack. So you'll have to watch till the end to see how we get it done. We're going to start by mixing together our wet ingredients, and I have 1 cup of chicken stock, but you could also just use water if you like. Then we want to add 1/4 cup of lime juice, which is equal to about 3 small limes. So I'm just going to juice these right into my bowl. Now you're welcome to jot down the ingredients as we go along, but to make it even easier, you can click on the link in the video description below to the full recipe and notes that's on my website, gentletummy.com. And if you want to have a little bit stronger lime flavor, you can go ahead and zest one of the limes before you juice it. Oh, that smells so good. Next, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of orange juice, and you can use freshly squeezed or store-bought. And then I'm also going to add a tablespoon of zest that I zested from the orange before I juiced it. And then we can set this aside. Next, I have 5 cloves of garlic that I've peeled, and then I'm just going to use my garlic press to mince them right into a small bowl. But you could also dice them if you don't have a press. Next, you'll want to finely dice 1/2 of a white onion or yellow onion. And I went ahead and just used my Vidalia Chop Wizard, which made it super easy. Now we're going to mix together a really simple dry rub that's going to add incredible flavor to our pork. I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of oregano, and 1 tablespoon of paprika. And then I'll just mix this together with a fork. Now we could season our pork, and I just bought an 8-pound pork butt from my grocery store, and then I went ahead and sliced it in half just so it's a little bit easier to manage. And this is optional, but I went ahead and sliced off this thick layer of fat that was on the bottom of the meat. First, we want to season our pork with coarse sea salt. So I'm just going to generously sprinkle this all around the outside of the pork. I'm going to season it on all sides. I know this feels like a lot of salt, but this is the most important step to getting amazing flavor out of your pork. And I'll also add some dashes of black pepper. And then we can take our dry rub, and then I'm just going to sprinkle it over the pork and just kind of pat it in with my hand. We want to make sure we cover all sides of our meat. Now we can assemble our pork in our slow cooker, and I'm going to go ahead and pour in about 2 tablespoons of some avocado oil, which will just help coat the bottom of my slow cooker. And then I'm just going to tilt the bowl until it coats the bottom. Then we can add our gorgeous seasoned piece of pork. I'm going to turn it sideways to create more surface area on the bottom and the top. And then we can pour in our liquid. And then I'm going to spread the garlic on top of the pork so that all that flavor can seep down through the meat as it cooks. And then I'll dump in the onion on top as well. Then we can put on our lid, and then depending on how much time you have, you can cook it on low for about 8 to 10 hours or on high for about 5 to 6 hours, or until you can shred the meat apart with 2 forks. I like setting my slow cooker in my backyard on a table so I don't have all the aroma in the house. And then halfway through, I took a knife and just cut the pork in half, and then I tilted both pieces so they were down into the juice. And this just helps the pork cook up a little bit quicker. So I brought in my slow cooker after 5.5 hours, and this pork looks amazing. And there's 2 ways for checking whether or not it's ready to shred. The first is by using a meat thermometer, and if it reaches between 200 and 205 degrees Fahrenheit, you know it is just right. And ours is right at 204.5. And the second method is to simply poke a fork in it and see if you can pull it apart, which yes, we can. So now I'm going to very carefully fish these out and onto my cutting board. And then we can simply go in with the forks and start shredding it. And if there's any obvious fatty parts as you're shredding, you can go ahead and pull those out. Well, now our cutting board is covered with some very juicy pork. Now, of course, we could just enjoy it as is, but to get that really tasty, crispy finish, I have a very simple hack. We're going to put the pork onto our baking sheet and then broil it in our oven on the top rack just for a few minutes, and that's going to crisp up the edges of the meat and make it super tasty. So I've lined my pan with some parchment paper just to make cleanup a little bit easier. And then we'll go ahead and empty all of our meat onto the tray. And my cookie sheet is large enough that we can spread out our meat and be able to do it all in one batch. But if your pan is on the smaller side, you can go ahead and do it in 2 batches. We want to get that meat nice and spread out so we get lots of crispy edges. Now we're gonna broil this for about 2 minutes, and then we'll take it out of the oven, just move the meat around, put it back into the oven and broil it for maybe another 2 minutes. But you'll want to keep a close eye on it because it can burn very quickly. So after a total of 3 minutes in my broiler, we have some very crispy edged pork. And then we can spoon over some of the sauce that we kept from our crock pot, with a little bit of those cooked onions. And then we'll squeeze a little bit of fresh lime juice. And this is ready to serve. And I am ready for a sample. Blow on it so it's not too hot. Oh man, oh man. That is so good. That is so juicy and tender. And the flavoring is so delicious. I get the hint of the orange and the lime. And then I love the savory seasonings coming in from the cumin and the paprika and the garlic. And I love that it has tons of flavor without being too spicy, but you could easily add more spice to your preference. And I love that we can make restaurant quality pork with a simple slow cooker. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. And I've included a link to the full recipe, and it's in the video description below. And that takes you to my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone else who you think would love this recipe, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.